on Nancy Pelosi's so-called assault weapons ban today. There is a lot of infighting on Capitol Hill. They rigged the rules last night in the House Rules Committee. Welcome in, everyone. Patrick Parsons, Executive Vice President of the American Firearms Association, coming to you live this morning. Let me know where you're watching from there in the comments, guys. I am joined this morning by my colleague, Aaron Dorr. I'm going to bring him in. Aaron's been monitoring the situation. Aaron, welcome in. Let us know what is up this morning, and we'll start the conversation off here for everybody watching.
Yeah, good morning, Patrick. You mentioned a minute ago, just last night, Nancy Pelosi passed a rules change which shortened the calendar on when votes can go to the floor for a vote. This is a desperate act of a desperate caucus who was trying to find a way to get a vote on an assault weapons ban before they go into their 6-week recess. That's where we're at right now. They are going on recess sometime late tonight. We're not sure what time. If they don't do this between now and tonight, their fear is they're going to lose all of their momentum on this, and they may lose their one shot to pass their signature gun control bill.
Right, guys. And if you're just now joining us, we're going to give you a few more details here, and it's a rapidly changing situation. We've got a bunch of our people signing on here. We got Brunswick, Georgia. I'm seeing Longville, Minnesota. I'm seeing another Minnesota, Indianola. I think that's Indiana. Brunswick,
that's Iowa,
Madison
baby.
County. Iowa,
My
okay.
state.
Letawiki, Florida, guys. Pound that like button, pound that share button. We came to y'all last night with this information. We believe we were the first ones out there to break this for y'all. But here's what's happening inside the halls of Congress. So what you have is you have this so-called assault weapons ban, and then you also have a massive police funding bill that could add 100,000 cops, a massive expansion of a surveillance state. It's no good. It's crap. And so Pelosi's left wing, the so-called socialist squad, these communists, they're holding the assault weapons ban hostage until they get demands that they want out of this other bill. And so that is what's happening right now. Pelosi rigged the rules last night in the House Rules Committee, called a same-day rule. Normally, a controversial bill like this would need 24 hours to sit. It would need debate, amendments. They skipped all that. They said, F you, everybody. We don't have much time left. We don't want to stay into Saturday. This may take all day and night to get the votes that we need, but we're going to try to get them tonight. And they rigged the rules in order to do that. Guys, and again, if you're just now joining us, I know tons of y'all signed on last night, became members of the American Firearms Association. Join up at joinafa.org. That's joinafa.org. Hop on tonight. And get involved in the battle. Guys, Aaron, I know you've seen this type of parliamentary legislative maneuvers over the years in certain state capitals across the country. You mentioned it a few minutes ago, a desperate act from desperate people who are looking at legislative and probably political slaughter in November. You've seen this before. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, again, this is what we expect. We have the midterms coming up. It depends on the poll numbers and who you trust, but it should be a bloodbath for congressional Democrats in Washington, D.C. And they know if they don't find a way to get this done now, they're probably going to lose their chance for what could be a very long time. So what they're doing right now in D.C. is trying to tie, as you said a minute ago, tie the assault weapons ban with a police funding bill, trying to bribe the vulnerable Democrats and the crossover backstabbing rhinos to come on board with this bill. And folks, we always say your one vote matters at election time. We're down to 1 or 2 votes right now in D.C. on this bill passing or not. It's going to come down to 1 or 2 votes. So if you're in a state with a vulnerable member of Congress in your district, you need to call that person immediately today and say, you had better freaking hold the line. We had people here watching right now. I saw from Indianola, from DeSoto. This is Congressional 3 in Iowa. You've got to call, for example, Cindy Axne today, right now, 202-225-5476. People like Cindy Axne have to be hearing from gun owners today, because this is going to come down to 1 or 2 votes. They're desperate. This is probably their last shot. We have to keep the pressure on big time.
Yeah, guys, at the end of the day, and here's the inside, behind the scenes, happenings, what happens in Congress. First of all, there's 220 Democrats and there's 211 Republicans. 4 Democrats have said they're not going to vote for this thing. Is that actually going to happen? I don't know. But they have 212 co-sponsors on this bill. They're looking for Republican votes. But here's what's happening. So Nancy Pelosi sits in her office. She's not like running around the Capitol when we say she's scrambling for votes. No, they come to her. And she has what's called a whip team. And they are whipping this vote. They're calling members, or they're cutting deals. They're saying, what do you want? What do you want? What do you need in order to do this, et cetera, et cetera. And so that's going on throughout the day while she is trying to get other issues through as well through the Congress. There's a lot of bills that are coming to the House floor today. They're looking at a 5-week recess. But at the end of the day, when you encapsulate that is, hey, these Second Amendment rights or gun owners, who cares? Who cares? All they're doing is horse trading for votes right now. That's how little they actually care about you. And of course, we knew that. Now, the bigger question is, are any Republicans going to vote for this so-called assault weapons ban? You've got Adam Kinzinger from Illinois, Chris Jacobs of New York are possibilities, Brian Fitzpatrick from Pennsylvania, and others across the country who could potentially vote. There's the gal Maria, whatever the hell her name is. I think she represents Parkland or close to it down there in South Florida, Salazar. And remember, there was close to 15 Republicans who voted for gun control in last month. What was that? 29,
well, that was just the
68.
Senate side, plus a dozen more on the House side. So there's
Yeah,
all
right.
kinds of room for betrayal here. I saw some people watching right now from Farmington, New York. I saw Buffalo, New York in here. You got to contact Chris Jacobs as well. His phone number, 202-225-5265. Now, here's the deal. The guy's out, not running again. I get it. But these people are never done in their careers until they're done. Who knows? He may want to come back up again sometime down the road for a different office. Call him today and remind him, if you vote for this, you are politically dead forever. You're dead. Mike Fitzgerald, Des Moines, Iowa, same thing. Call Cindy Axne immediately. They have to hear from you guys right away. It's going to happen sometime today, or it won't. And that's the problem. We can't give you an exact timeline because there is no timeline. As you heard from Patrick, they're doing a lot of horse trading right now on not just this bill, on a whole package of bills. And so this is actively happening right now. So your phone calls are more important now than ever. The U.S. Capitol switchboard for everybody who's watching right now is 202-224-3121. I'll give it to you again, 202-224-3121. So whoever you are, wherever you're watching from, call your congressman immediately and tell them you want them to be an absolute no vote on HR 1808. No matter what happens, no matter what kind of deals they have, they better vote no.
Yeah, guys, if you're just now joining us, I know a lot of y'all come and go. Some of y'all are on last night. You might have gotten our email alert this morning explaining a lot of the situation, guys. But if you're just now joining us, I'm Patrick Parsons with the American Firearms Association alongside my colleague Aaron Dorr. Let us know down in the comments section where you're watching from. I see Birch Tree, Missouri, Moberly, Missouri, New Paltz, New York is in, guys. And if you're not yet a member of the American Firearms Association, join up at joinafa.org, joinafa.org. This section of the show is what I like to call AFA roll call. I'm going to read off some of the new members here who are watching live. We have Alfred from Boone. Is that Boone, Iowa? I don't know exactly where that is.
Absolutely.
Boone, Iowa, 50036 is in. We have Jean in Cartersville, Georgia, is a new member of the American Firearms Association. Brandon in Chesapeake, Virginia. Joseph in Little Falls, New Jersey is in. Rob in Boise, Idaho. So if you want to hear your name read on the show today or on a future show, guys, join up with the American Firearms Association today at joinafa.org. Lots going on in the Capitol in Washington, D.C., guys. We said it the other day. We say it in our email newsletters. Over 250,000 contacts, at least, from our members and supporters. Phones, emails, petitions, calls, on and texts, on and on and on across the country. Keep the heat on. And some of y'all ask me this question frequently. Where do you spend all the money? Well, direct mail, social media, text messaging, email. That's how we mobilize gun owners across the country here at the American Firearms Association. And we're doing it right now. So your support is put right into those programs, guys. Again, not much has changed since we first started the show here about 10 or 12 minutes ago. This morning, they were on the House floor. They, meaning the chairman of the Rules Committee, Jim McGovern. You may recognize his name. Jim McGovern, a communist. He's the chair of the Rules Committee. The Rules Committee is what sets the rule for the vote on the House. Will there be amendments? How fast can it move? How much debate is there going to be? And they were on the floor earlier today, and McGovern, which is what we expected, said, we want to make this happen. It's possible. We may have to stay late. We're going to get this done. So when you hear things like that, that means they're still trying to get the votes. Aaron, I want to ask you, just for everybody out there watching, what's the craziest thing you've ever seen when it comes to trying to wrangling a vote on the Republican or Democrat side? Not only, probably not in Congress, but maybe in the legislatures across the country that you operate in. You have any stories?
There's been a lot of shady crap. One time we had a Republican who was going to file a pro-gun amendment onto a bad gun control bill. This is in the Des Moines, the capital in Iowa, here in Des Moines. And at that time, the Democratic leader took the amendment, ran over to his office, put the amendment in his desk, locked his desk drawer, locked his office door, and left the state capitol to make sure the amendment could not be filed. So these people, there is nothing they won't do. And that's at the state level. That's nothing like what they'll do in Washington, D.C. And so this is going to continue to happen all day. Horse trading, threatening, backroom deals. They're going to keep that pressure on. That's why we have got to maintain that heat as well. When you call their offices, you're going to get some 22-year-old pimply-faced intern. When you get them on the phone, tell them, I want to speak to your legislative director. I want to talk to your comms director. I want to talk to your chief of staff. Ask for people who are higher caliber and say, make sure your boss knows we will never forget this. If you vote with the radical left to make me a felon for buying an AR-15 or a mag over 10 rounds capacity, we will do all we can to hold your boss accountable in the elections, be that primaries for the Republicans, the general election for the Democrats. No quarter to anybody who votes to disarm the American people. This is not some academic debate. We're not talking about some, con law 101 class right here. Their goal with this is to turn America into freaking Venezuela, where you and I have hunting shotguns, we have hunting rifles at best. The government has all the guns, the government has all the power, and we all know what happens. History makes it clear. This is for all the marbles right now. So if they can pass this, we have a real problem on our hands, guys. So keep that pressure on. I'm seeing the comment section repeatedly. People are saying, well, it can't pass the Senate, can it? You know what, folks? Everybody said that a month and a half ago when Biden passed his last gun control bill in the Senate. When we had 15 Senate Republicans, including phony Joni Ernst, you've got Roy Blunt, you have all these Republicans who stab us in the back. They're capable of anything right now. We have a Republican caucus full of cowards. We have a Democratic caucus filled full of ghouls who hate this country and are determined to take away your right to keep your government in check. That's why AFA is different. We're not here talking about your right to go target shooting or your right to go deer hunting. Sure, of course, that's a given. This is about more than that. This is about stopping a tyrannical, out of control federal government from becoming, all powerful and having all control over our lives. They're not there yet. And the reason for it is because 100 million Americans own 400 approximately million firearms. If we ever lose that, our country is done the way we know it today.
I saw a comment a few minutes ago, Aaron. It's like, what's the rush? Why are they rushing this? Well, here's the situation, okay? They are about to set off, I say they, meaning the House, is about to set off on a 5-week recess. I saw this morning that Steny Hoyer, who is what's called the majority leader, he's Nancy Pelosi's top lieutenant. He's like 85 years old from Maryland, a good old communist. He said they're going to have to come back in August, and it's going to be unpleasant. And namely, they're going to come back in August, most likely, to deal with what's called reconciliation. So they're doing that over in the Senate. If you Google that, you can read about it. This guy, Joe Manchin, has cut a deal with Chuck Schumer. And, I have to say it again, shame on those stupid Republicans who praise this guy, Joe Manchin, hold fundraisers for him and everything else. He's a communist. I mean, and he's an anti-gun communist, too. And he's cut a deal over there. So if that passes the Senate, we're expecting that to pass in the next 10 days. In a couple of weeks, the House may have to come back. Well, I mean, think about what these House members are going to be out doing. Number one, they're going to have to be out campaigning. Number two, if they don't have to be out campaigning, they're going to be on a beach somewhere getting drunk and high, in the Caribbean or somewhere else, okay, and carousing and debauchery and everything else. So they're going to have to interrupt their vacation to come back, and vote on something. So now they're also going to have to go home and listen to people, and especially these left-wingers, Democrats. You see David Hogg screaming and yelling at these Democrats saying, do it, do it, do it, do it. Pelosi doesn't want to have to deal with that. That's why she's trying to get the votes now, so it's just a headache that she doesn't have to deal with. And that answers the question of why the rush. Well, that's why. They don't want to deal with their constituents. They want to say they did something. And to Aaron's point, David Hogg, go and look at his Twitter. This guy has more power than you think. I know we make fun of him. I know he's easy to make fun of, but this guy is a power player, just like AOC is. They know how to mobilize people and put pressure on Congress. He's been pounding the halls of Congress, standing outside Pelosi's office, bitching and complaining and getting thousands of calls in there, telling them to take action.
Yeah, when we're in the halls of Congress, we have the police trying to escort us out. When David Hogg's in the halls of Congress, he has an escort that escorts him everywhere he goes. The whole thing is a rigged game. Granted, we have bigger guns than David Hogg has, but still, you get my point. The pressure is not insignificant right now. You got to keep that pressure on, guys. Call. Here is the switchboard number. Get a screenshot of this. Patrick, give me a full screen for a moment once, Patrick.
Okay.
Guys, get a screenshot on your phone. This is the number you want to call your congressman today at this number. Call them now. Call them an hour from now. Call them 3 or 4 hours from now. Call them tonight. Keep that pressure on relentlessly. 202-224-3121. That is the switchboard number in D.C. Come on back in, Patrick, and keep that pressure on, guys. Today is a day for phone calls. Emails are great. Petitions are great. You can do those too, but keep those phone calls coming big time.
Yeah, and I want to do another little roll call because tons of y'all see and feel the threat, and you're jumping on board right now and becoming a member of the American Firearms Association. I'm going to do a little bit more roll call here. We've got Steve in Bridgeton, Missouri is in as the newest member of the American Firearms Association. Douglas in Cumming, Georgia at the $75 level. Thank you, Douglas. Appreciate you coming on board as a member of AFA at joinafa.org. David, $75 in Bellevue, Illinois, is jumping in. Philip, also in Cumming, Georgia, is in as well, guys. Join up this morning as a member of the American Firearms Association. Make your calls, send your emails, and let's make this happen, guys. If you are watching on the American Firearms Association page live right now, please comment down in the comments section. We are experiencing massive growth at AFA. Lots of new people hopping on board and getting involved in the fight, guys. Hold on, let me comment 1 second. And we appreciate y'all. I know a lot of politicians will ask you for money, organizations will ask you for money, and you never get thanked. But we want to say thank you so much, not only for your financial contributions, but your grassroots activism. We know that we're simply vehicles, we're simply messengers for what you're feeling and what you're seeing. And we would be nothing without your generous support and grassroots activism. And we're simply messengers for y'all, not only in the halls of Congress, but in legislatures across the country, guys. We are going to keep updating y'all throughout the day. Keep an eye on our social media pages from Facebook to Twitter to Getter to Telegram to Rumble. We're going to post this on Rumble here in just a few minutes, guys. But we're going to keep you updated on all the goings on. We're 14 hours away from midnight. This could happen in an hour. It could happen in 6 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours. We don't know. It could not happen at all. But most importantly, keep that heat on. Aaron, a couple more things. I mean, you've been on Capitol Hill quite a bit. Alex and I were there the other day. You know a lot of these legislators at the state level and even at the federal level, when they're getting hit, they feel it. And I think that's why it's so important just to keep up the heat.
Yes, even for those Democrats, for Democrat members of Congress, and you think to yourself, well, I'm not going to call them. These guys are radical gun grabbers. We understand that. But Patrick, what you just said is correct. These people are scared. They have a very, very good chance of a slaughter taking place in the midterms in November. And so it's not just the Democrats who are in 1% districts right now who are terrified. If you're a Democrat congressman and you're in a 5% either way district right now, which is dozens and dozens of them across America, you are terrified about having to take this vote. And every single phone call you get right now is that much more, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. And we already have Democrats going to Pelosi, our sources tell us this, in Congress saying, don't you make us vote on this. And if we keep that pressure up, keep those phone calls coming in, guys, we're going to have more of those vulnerable Democrats. We're like, look, it's going to be a bad year. Biden's destroyed our party. Yeah, I want to ban the AR-15s, but by God, I don't want to lose my seat. So, guys, that is a tactic here. Keep that pressure up immediately. You call it all day. Don't let this lapse. Call now. Call again in a couple hours from now. And stay tuned. We'll give you more information later on today by Facebook Live and by email. Much more to come later on today.
Hey, somebody asked the question a minute ago, and we'll wrap up, Aaron. It's like, what is the NRA doing? You know what? It's funny. I'm on their email lists. I'm on their social media pages. They haven't done anything on this fight. And I don't care if they say, oh, it doesn't matter. It's not going to. I mean, that is just bullcrap. They take money hand over fist from gun owners, and they act like they're fighting. Remember, they're the ones who wrote the gun control bill last month. And so, you know, if you're contemplating those guys, which you probably don't even hear from these days, or an organization like ours, hop on board, walk away from the NRA, join AFA, guys, join AFA.org, and get involved in the battle. Yeah, we will keep y'all updated throughout the day, guys. It's great to have y'all on this morning. We usually come on midday or late at night, guys. Stay tuned. Set an alert on whatever Facebook page you're watching us on today, guys. Yep. So that when we go live, we will, or you'll get that notification there on your social media page, guys. StopAWB.com. Call your congressman, 202-224-3121. Join up the American Firearms Association today at joinafa.org. I'm Patrick Parsons with the American Firearms Association. My colleague, Aaron Dorr, joined me here today. He's holding up the number there, guys, 202-224-3121. We love y'all. Thank you for your support. Stay active, stay mobilized, stay involved, and continue fighting for our Second Amendment rights, guys. We will see y'all a little bit later, guys.
Make those calls, folks. Take